Hi, I'm Cherie Cornick and welcome to my YouTube video. I am doing a Kitchener graft between this section that is like a worn section that I'm repairing on this swatch and the section up here that would be undamaged. I need to do this in two colors because, as you know, a graft creates a row of stitching, a row of knitting, and that's what I'm going to be doing. Now in a solid color, it's no problem. You're just creating another row of the same thing. But here, that's not the case. Here, I have to make sure that I'm using two colors to do this grafting and that I'm using the right colors in the right place. So the stitches that are up here that are being held by these removable stitch markers, this is that stitch. The next one, there are 4 dark blues there. Those are being held, and they are the stitches that are in this row. The stitches that I'm connecting to are the ones in this row. And as you can see, the first one I'm connecting to is white. It's white on the bottom here, it's dark blue on the top, and I'm using a medium blue thread. I've strung about 2 feet on each one of these, but the white, I made this one a yard long because look at how much more white there is than blue. This needs to be at least, your yarn needs to be at least 3 times this distance that you're going to be filling in. And I'm going with more because more is better. All right, so for the first stitch, remember in a graft, you always have to go through every stitch twice. So here's the first stitch. I'm going to take my lifeline out of it. And I'm going to come into this stitch from the back. If you want to think about, and I'm going to leave the tails on the front so that they're easy to deal with. I can always put them in the back. And now I'm going to connect it to the stitch that's right here on this marker. I'm going to go into the first leg and into the second leg, just like that pin is holding them together. Take it out and pull my yarn through. Now I have to go into this one again, but the next stitch is going to be white. So I'm going to go into this white one. Here's the first stitch that I've created, that one right there. I'm just going to lay my needle and yarn over to the side. Now I have to have the white yarn. Again, I'm going to leave a good sized tail. Remember, I've got to weave this in the end. And this is going to go through this blue stitch and connect to this dark blue stitch. So I'm going to go into the blue stitch from behind. Keep those tails out there. I'm going to go into that blue stitch. Now I'm going to come up here to the second of my dark blue stitches, and I'm going to go through both legs of it. The first leg and the second leg, just like the marker is holding it. I'll take that marker out, pull my yarn through. Now come back to this lower stitch, and now I have to go into that from the front. I'm not going to pull it through yet because my next stitch is also white. So I'm going to go into the next blue stitch from behind, or as we might say if we were doing this on the needles in our ordinary way, as if to purl. Tighten it a bit. All right, that's my first white stitch. Now, I wanted to leave this out to the front, but this is going to be a problem because if I leave it out to the front, and when I go to do the next blue one, look what's going to happen. It's going to go into across it, so I can't. I'm going to take that to the back and leave it hanging out here, but it needs to be in the back. All right, so I came through this stitch. I'm ready to make my second white stitch. I have a blue stitch here, one white stitch. Now I'll take out this lifeline, and I have to go through the next marker up here. Goes right through there. Back down to this white stitch, and I'm going into it from the front. This is my second that I'm creating, and now I'm working on getting ready for the third one, so I'm going to go into that white stitch from the back. I've created the second white stitch, and my yarn has gone into this white stitch so I can make that one. So here's my yarn. It's coming up, and I'm going to be going into this dark blue stitch right here. I'll take out the marker. And I finish this third white stitch by going from the front into the stitch below. You might recognize that as if to knit. Now I'm going to have a light blue there. So I'm going to take this, it's making my third white one. I'm going to take it to the back. So all my floats can be on the back. Lay it over to the side. And now I'm ready to work on this light blue stitch. Excuse me, this medium blue stitch. It's below the light blue one, and it's above a white one. So I have to go into that white one. No, excuse me. I have to go into this white one, and it's on my lifeline. So I'm going to take the lifeline out of it just so that I can see that stitch. The bottom ones are a lot easier to see, and of course they stay together. They're the heads of the stitch. So I'm coming up. I'm just going to bring my yarn to the top so I know whether I've gone through anything. I go through this stitch as if to purl, or from the back. Make sure you get both legs of it, and make sure that it's not twisted. That would be twisted. It's coming from the back. It's going to go into both legs of the light blue. It's going down into this white one right here. And since it's a lone blue one, I have to take that to the back and pick up my white. So that I have 3 whites in a row. I'm going to be going into this medium blue and into the dark blue. So there's the next medium blue stitch on the lifeline. I'll bring this white up to the front. Make sure that it isn't tangled with anything on the back. Yeah, right there it is. Right. All right, so it's this white stitch that's going to start in the medium blue down here and go up to the dark blue. Now these stitches look loose, and they are, but I can come back and even them out when this is all across here. So that's one white one. Since I have another white one, I'm not going to go to put this on the back. I'm going to come down here to the white stitch that the medium blue that right here. I'm going to go into that one, and I'm going to come up in the next medium blue. Oh, it doesn't look like it should be the next medium blue. It should be a white stitch. Ah, yes. You see that? I started to go into this stitch, but it's not this stitch. It's this white stitch. So that's why your chart showing all the stitches above and the stitches below and the stitch that you're making is so important. There's one white one. Here are my 2 legs on the removable marker. I'm just going to keep going along here. I think you can see what I'm doing. Make sure it's not twisted. There. That's 2 made. The third one is under the light blue. back down into the white one, and this time I'll go to the back because the next stitch is blue, that medium blue. Here we go. All right, let's look at it so far. This is where I started, right over here, with a medium blue stitch, that one. I have 3 whites, a medium blue, 3 whites, now a medium blue. Again, I'm going to bring my yarn, my needle to the front. Make sure that its floats are laying fine. Always my first place that my needle goes is into the bottom stitch, and it's going from the back to the front. It's going into dark blue up there, this one. And back into this medium blue. Since there's only 1 stitch of blue, it goes to the back, and my white comes forward. My white stitch is going to go into a light blue on the top and white on the bottom. So the first place I go is to the bottom part. That's on my lifeline here. I go from the back to the front, to that front leg, just like that. It's a light blue above it, so those are the 2 legs right there that I need. Looks like it's going through this dark blue yarn as well, so I don't want that to happen. There we go. That's 1 white. Goes back into the lower white one, from back to front in the next one. So my first stitch is completed. My second stitch is going to be into dark blue at the top. Back into the same stitch right there. And now the next one that I'm going into for the 3rd white one is this medium blue. And above it is dark blue. Right there. I don't want to pull my lifeline out. Sometimes when you're just kind of, flipping these ends around, It's easy to pull when you don't want to pull. All right, and the third, this is the third white one, and it goes back into that medium blue. The next stitch is medium blue. Bring this blue to the front. I'm working on this stitch right here. The top part is light blue, the bottom is white. So I'm going to go into this white stitch from the back to the front. Don't want that to pull too tightly. All right, get my lifeline out of there. Above this medium blue is a light blue. It's this one right here. Back into the white, same white stitch, and since this is only one, it goes to the back. Get my white again. As you can see, once you get going and you see what you're doing on this, it's not all that difficult. I'm going into a white stitch. I'm going to have 3 white stitches in a row, and the first one is going to go into a white stitch. Not any white stitch. This white stitch. From the back to the front. It has above it a dark blue, this one. The next stitch I'm going to go into is medium blue from the back to the front. That lifeline sometimes seems like it's in the way, but it's really important. It's really, I find it really valuable. Now what's happening here? Okay, there we go. So this is into another dark blue. And back into that medium blue right there. I'm going to go back into this stitch because remember, this is the one we're doing right here. And I'm going to come up in the next medium blue from the back to the front. I'm doing this stitch. It's the second to the last one, the penultimate stitch. Right where that marker was. back into this blue down here, the one that I just came out of, and now I'm going to go into this white stitch right here. It's on my lifeline from the back to the front. Take out the lifeline. Go here to the two that are the last two that are being on my lifeline, on my markers, these two. And back into the bottom stitch. So there's my graft. Let's check the colors. I have a blue here. Remember, this is the row that we graphed. I have a blue here, 3 whites, blue, 3 whites, blue, 3 whites, I guess it is the whole thing. It's not split. Medium blue right here. 1, 2, 3. Nope, the last one should not be white. It should be blue. So I'm going to fix this, I'm going to grab onto this last stitch. And I'm going to pull my yarn out. Nope, that's not the right yarn. And that's not the right stitch to grab. This is the stitch I need to grab because this is the wrong stitch right here. So I want to hold on to that so that I make sure that I can go into it properly. Take my needle and take out this last white stitch. And just to be sure, I am going to go back and put this removable marker under those 2 legs. Can you see it? I just want to make sure that I get the right ones when I come back with the blue. All right. And this needs to come out of this stitch. Now, with my blue from the back, yes, I'm gonna tuck this to the back because it's where it's been after each one of these stitches, and it just right. So there are my 3 whites, and now bring the blue to the forward. Go into this stitch, make sure it's not twisted from the back. Go through the 2 legs of the dark blue above it. Take out the stitch marker. And back into that last stitch right there. Can you see it? All right. So now we'll check it one more time. It was down here at this end that there was a problem. It was the blue, 3 whites, and a blue. I'm always obsessed with tightening these things up, and I'm not going to go through it and do it. You can certainly see how to do that. But as you can see, the graph that I did is done in pattern in 2 colors and completes the pattern. The last thing to be done for this is to have the last couple here duplicate stitched into an adjoining stitch to hold them in place. And then I'll weave, I'll take these apart, weave them in this direction, and weave the other threads, these threads, out in this direction. Yes, it makes it a little thicker than the rest of the sweater, but considering that's the elbow that wore out, just think, you've got extra yarn in there now, and it probably won't wear out in your lifetime.